Are you worried about your spouse ripping you off in your divorce proceedings? Are you asking yourself, is my spouse bullying me or lying to me to rip me off? Some things you need to bear in mind when you're dealing with a bully. If your spouse was the one with the power during the marriage, divorce isn't going to change him or her into someone willing to give up their power. If anything, divorce will make them more relentless when it comes to retaining both financial and emotional power over you. The more anxious you are to get the divorce settlement over and done with, the more willing you will be to give your spouse anything and everything just to get to an end. There is something very sad in caving in to conclude a settlement quickly to find out in 12 months' time you resent the compromises that you made. The difficulties are worse if your ex is toxic or narcissistic. So I've often had to have discussions with spouses facing bullying, and the key is don't be intimidated by your ex's behaviour. You will go into divorce settlement negotiations with your ex on the same footing. You both have the same rights. So don't concede your rights. Do not give up your rights. Don't allow yourself to buy into threats about taking the children or leaving you destitute. An angry ex likes to intimidate by threats. Don't respond to them. Take them to your attorney and let him or her deal with your ex. You can't control your spouse or your ex-spouse. Even if you are able to do so during your marriage, once you start down the road of divorce, you can kiss any thoughts of control goodbye. If your spouse is telling you that you are never going to get a dime in the divorce, or you are a homewrecker and your kids are going to hate you forever, or any one of the 1,000 other horrible things that angry spouses sometimes yell at each other when they are hurt, don't listen. Hang up the phone. Leave the room. This is not a productive conversation to be in. When you are dealing with a spouse who is willing to lie to attorneys and to lie in court, protecting your rights can be difficult without an attorney in particular, and unintentionally you can make yourself look vindictive if you're working without an attorney. Hiring a lawyer can help you understand the best way to present your evidence, to protect your rights and ensure that your spouse does not get a divorce settlement based on lies or misrepresentations. There are no solutions for personal disagreements in a law court or in a lawyer's office. The discovery process gives you protection, and it's a good way to get financial information from an uncooperative spouse because the court has the power to compel compliance. For example, if your spouse fails to produce documents, you can ask a judge to order your spouse to do so. If your spouse disobeys the order, a court may punish your spouse by imposing a sanction, which can include fines or even a judgment against your spouse on a particular issue. A business-owning spouse may be inclined to protect his or her financial interests and seek to commit fraud. They may try to conceal or transfer assets, understate revenue. If you or one of your clients, if you're a lawyer, suspects such behaviour, you may need the assistance of a forensic accountant. Making the disclosure that your former spouse engaged in tax fraud can theoretically open the door to the depletion of marital assets. Furthermore, the disclosing spouse may implicate him or herself in the alleged tax crimes. So be careful not to act hastily without getting proper legal advice. The costs of the divorce process are inevitable, but they can be managed. Lawyers charge by the hour and the court system is notoriously slow. Together, these factors can lead to significant costs, and in most instances people find divorce takes longer and costs more than they expected. is going to be more emotional and difficult than you want. So many times I've heard people say, this is going to be quick and easy, we're just both being reasonable and want to get through this quickly and minimise the pain. Rarely does it turn out that way. If you know this from the start and you don't expect it to be fast or cheap, then you are starting way ahead of the game. Even if your spouse has always been kind, considerate and respectful, don't assume that those character traits will carry through the divorce process. If you want to come away from your divorce with an equitable settlement, you need to anticipate how your spouse will choose to defend his or her position during the process, and whether or not this process in itself will mean a drastic change in personality traits. Just because a spouse was not aggressive during the marriage doesn't mean that they won't be during the divorce. And one final warning is social media. Be careful how you use it during a divorce. With the ubiquitous nature of social media, it's important to remain professional online. Keep all the details of your divorce and separation agreement off the internet. If you do make any posts referencing your divorce or your soon-to-be ex-spouse, avoid venting, ranting or name-calling. These posts can easily reach your spouse and can be used against you in court. So please, be careful, be alert, ask yourself the right questions and get the legal and financial support that you need to make sure that through the divorce process you get a fair outcome. Thank you.